Guys, this is Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and I have another little tarot video for you. I mean, shocker, right? But I had actually quite a few subscribers, not just one, but there was there was one first, and then there was a few others that were wondering if I could make a video on how I read non-reversal reversals. Reverso, non-reverso. So, okay, so I made a video on how I read tarot, and I will link that video down below, but I also made a video on how I read oracle cards. I will link that down below. I made the mention that that's just how I do it. You know, there are readers that have all their different methods and ways. Some people feel that you strictly need to adhere to it this way or that way, and I think it's just based on the reader. You can go and have a reading from, let's say, you know, 4 different people asking the same question. You know, I don't like advise that you do that, but I'm saying, you know, let's say you did, and you might get 4 different perspectives, but I wouldn't say any of the perspectives are wrong. Their advice would be, you know, totally on point and awesome, you know, but they may read differently. Out of the 4, you may get 4 different readers, you know, on how they look at tarot and how they do or do not use reversals. You know, some may be going strictly, you know, intuition, some people more academic, some a combination, you know, some kind of more esoteric, you know. So it's I think just dependent on what you're comfortable with, your practice, what you feel best with, best suited, especially if you're just starting out and you're just a beginner. You're probably just going to try all different types of methods. And I think that's great. You know, kind of feel things out. And if something is just like having a hard time sticking, then you try something else. I always want to put out there that, you know, tarot, anybody can learn tarot. Of course, there's going to be people out there that are like the Olympians of the tarot world. But that doesn't mean that everybody can't be proficient at it. Okay, so reading reversal, non-reversal, reversal. Okay, so let's say I get my deck of cards, and maybe you've already gotten pretty good at listening to your intuition, and you pretty much know like a lot of the meanings for tarot. Like you have some books, you've done some research, you've done some reading up on stuff. You know, you're proficient at it. And so then the question comes up. Somebody's like, well, have you tried reading with reversals? And you're like, huh? And so, okay, what that means is, you know, if somebody were to shuffle their cards, there might be some cards that are upside down. And to put it very simply, what that would mean is that the meaning would be reversed. It doesn't always mean that the meaning is absolutely opposite. So let's say, you know, we have the Emperor card, which is, you know, kind of like boss lady or boss dude. You know, somebody who stands in their power, speaks their truth, is like, doesn't, you know, has no funny business, you know, things like that. The reverse of that would be somebody who maybe is lacking in those skills, or maybe they have too much of that, like they've become not just a leader, but they've become domineering and things like that. So it would be almost like the extreme of that card, or the shadow of that card. And I like to read it more as of the shadow of the card mixed with a little bit maybe of the opposite of the card. There are some readers who just read the opposite, and that's fine. So I'm not saying that my way is the right way. So it's not like my way or the highway. I'm just showing you this is what I do. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, great. There are so many different readers out there. Like, just pick something that, you know, really works for you. Okay, so let's say I'm, you know, for me, aesthetically, I don't like to see cards upside down. So I go with my intuition. You know, you guys have heard me before. I talk all about always trusting your gut and what is your gut saying. So in order for you to try out this reversal, non-reversal technique, is to, let's say, do a, just like I suggested for my last video on how I read tarot, do a 3-card spread, let's say at the beginning of your day. And you want to ask how your day went. Okay, so let's say I did pull these 3 cards here. Okay, so we have swords. I believe that's pentacles there. yeah, Pentacles. Um, okay, so let's say I pull the Emperor card, I have the Ace of Swords, and then I have the Nine of Pentacles. So obviously this cat's like super stoked because they can have their food and they can have that canary too. And your first glance at this at the beginning of the day is like, okay, Emperor, okay, so that's like standing in my power, like I got things under control, I'm like boss lady, right? Ace of Swords, you know, maybe I have a new idea about something, there's some new ideas that come up, maybe there's some action or something that needs to be communicated, you know, throughout the course of the day. And it might lead to something really good, you know, in my favor, as long as I speak up and have this Emperor energy. But let's say it's now the end of the day, and you're like reflecting on these three cards that you pulled, and you're like, okay, well, so towards the end of my day, something did come up where I was to voice my opinion. But it totally wasn't this Nine of Pentacles. It was more like this. So I felt kind of left out in the cold, like nobody backed me, you know, after I said my piece and what I had to say. So now what I want you to do is I want you to journal these experiences. You know, sometimes maybe, you know, you're reading them as if they're all in upright positions, but then you get towards the end of your day and it's like, okay, this was more like in a reversed position. So I want you to then the next day, let's say you pull some cards. Actually, let's pull 3 new cards. I'm just going to grab 3 cards here. Okay, we have 9 of Swords here. That's interesting. Okay, so let's say now you have these cards, and I want you to go through the meanings like you normally would. So what the Page of Swords means, what the Knight of Pentacles means, and what the 9 of Swords would mean. Now I want you to put your intuition into it. Is there anything here about your day that just doesn't seem right? You're like, okay, so I can totally see this about my day. I feel like I'm the Page of Swords, and I feel like, you know, this person that they're talking about, this Knight of Pentacles, this is kind of like my brother. Okay, so but we get along, and I'm just not feeling that this is going to be a part of my day. I feel like it's going to be quite the opposite. I feel like there's going to be a freeing up of anxiety, of us seeing things from a different point of view. I just kind of feel that. Like I don't feel like this is totally going to be the case. Okay, so then you go through your day, and let's say that's what ended up happening. Perhaps you and your brother ended up having a conversation, and your brother who does deal with anxiety, and maybe you suffer from anxiety as well, you know, was looking for ways to you know, deal with it, you know, to look at a certain situation that was giving him anxiety from a different perspective. And you're like, okay, you know, and you gave that person, your brother, you know, some information, and it was able to alleviate some of that anxiety. So it's almost like, okay, you were able to spin this card around. So that's kind of like the best way that I can talk about reversals is, for me, it's totally on an intuitive level. You know, when I look at a reading, and let's say, you know, I'm looking at finances or I'm looking at career, and the cards that show up just don't look like they're in alignment with what the message should be. However, if I were to spin some of those cards around non-physically, it would make much more sense to me. And I'm like, okay, it's not quite this, it's more this, you know. So again, it's just intuition. It's just getting used to your intuition. And me, I've really learned to trust my gut a lot more than when I first started out on my journey. So it just takes practice. So those of you that do physically read reversals, if that's what makes, you know, it's just what works for you, I would say do that then. But I would say try to give it a go with non-reversals. For me, it's just a visual thing, you know. It's just, you know, I'm a very visual person, and I don't know, I get disturbed by things that are not right side up. So I just kind of taught myself to learn to feel out reversals. Even though the card wasn't physically reversed, I had to just learn to trust my gut. And I started off just doing readings for myself, and going with what my gut was telling me, and then taking action on it. And that's the key there, is to follow through with the action of the advice that you're given, totally trusting your gut, because then it lets your intuition / your gut / the universe know that you're putting more faith into it. And so that connection then becomes stronger and not as like unsure as maybe previously. So definitely this is just it's all intuition. For me, yes, I do know the meanings of the cards. Yes, I do continue to do study. I don't think anybody should like decide that they're a master and then they stop studying. I think people should forever be students. But I would say a good chunk of my reading is based on intuition and some other stuff. So let me know if you found this helpful. Like I said, try out some readings on yourself, then try, on your friends, and go with your gut. If you see a particular card come through and you're like, no, this is not the Four of Wands, I'm getting something actually completely unstable about this situation, then that's what you go with. Okay. And the more you get comfortable with that, and the more you trust yourself, the better your readings are going to be, and the more comfortable you will be reading in general. So anyway, if this helped you, please let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know if you want me to make any other sort of tarot videos. I mean, this was it was actually kind of hard to explain to you guys, because it is just intuition. I just me being the way I am visually, I can't have cards upside down. Like, it actually messes with my brain for some reason when I'm trying to do a reading. But since I do trust my gut, I'll look at a card and be like, no, I'm not really seeing the Four of Wands. I'm actually seeing instability, or I'm seeing too much stability, somebody needing to let go, so I have to check in with what my intuition is telling me. Is this more of a shadow aspect? Is this more of a opposites aspect? What is it, and how does that flow with the rest of the reading? So I would just do that suggestion of do some daily draws, pull up like 3 cards, just make it simple on yourself. Or even a single card if you want to make it even more simple. And what is your gut telling you about that card, and about how the rest of your day is going to go? And then from there, you can start progressing onto like a little bit deeper readings for yourself and for your friends and family. But yeah, again, if this helped you, let me know in the comment section down below. If you dug this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe, and don't forget to click that ding 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 notification bell for more videos just like this. And if you want to catch a reading from me, head over to www.kittensweightsandtarot.com. Not only do I have a plethora of readings over there, but I also have my room and body sprays, I have my salves, I have my Travel Witch altar pendants, I have my ancestral altar pendants, and my rainbow bridge pendants to honor your furry, feathery, scaly loved ones. And I also have my Wally's World Oracle, which was community created and community funded. It's my little Wally Walito. So definitely go check that out. And on my website, I also have a link for you to sign up to a newsletter. It is my newsletter. It is absolutely free. And I hit your inbox once a month, and that is the only time I email you. And it has witchy DIYs, arts and crafts ideas, channels I'm watching, decks I'm using, crystals I'm using, herbs I'm using, tea I'm drinking, etc., etc. If that interests you, definitely sign up. And if you want to throw a little love my way, think about joining the KWT tribe over at patreon.com/kittensweightsandtarot for as little as $1 a month. It helps out this channel so that I can do more and create more for you guys. And my goal is to have another meetup when this whole freaking funny business is all over with. So anyway, I will catch you spiritual homies later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.